Yo. I hope I set everything up right. I just, yeah. Super took a live to watch this.
Okay, so talk me through this, Mike, because we've got lots to talk about. Bigger pay. I know, you're earning your paycheck today because things are getting a little wacky, right? Because I mean, for me, as soon as I see Nookie on Jet, I'm like, okay, well, you've made a statement here, haven't you already? Yeah. Now, talk to me beyond that as well, because this doesn't just stop with him, and it doesn't even stop with the map, but there's a lot of unique factors here. And I actually want to talk bigger picture at one point, but just the agent select alone, I think we have to address.
Yeah, I think so. This is a good opportunity. Obviously, I don't want to say with nothing on the line, but in a series like this, you can test the boundaries a little bit, right? Especially coming ahead of an international event. This tape is going to be key in terms of that. Element of that, I mean, just quickly, Durka straight through cave
Durka's
here.
off.
Yeah, he's off on one.
He's having a stroll. They are none the wiser. Oh lordy, what is Durka doing?
Durka.
He's just dipped past both of them. Absolutely baffled by this. G2, it's going to be a bit of a slap in the face, isn't it? That just cold shower awakening that this is going to be one of those games you're going to have to bring a bit of a unique approach. Is now we're going to have a Vova left in a 1v4, but not feeling so likely on this. As you know what Magnum can do, he can just take his way around the map, dip out of danger.
Get
a little space, but you're right. Avova going to get at least a spike down. Has a little bit of utility still left to play with. He can do anything more. That'd be quite impressive, honestly. No underhand flash. Okay, swings it. No one there to greet, but he is being surrounded, as we noted. Now, let's then kind of lean into this, right? Because it's going to be one of those days. I think we're going to be, what's he up to? Well, yeah, it's going to be one of those. Now, when we talk bigger picture, something we've been alluding to, talk to me about, like, let's we all know what's on the horizon, right? Iceland's coming in. Both these teams looking fine for it, looking good. But what sort of indicators can we pull away from this? What should we be looking out for? Let's just start with G2, right? Out of the two teams, let's start with G2. What do you want to see? What's a good look going to Iceland? Where can we kind of turn that attention?
I mean, for me, it's G2 have looked great. I think that goes without saying. But one of the things now for me, I think back to that Icebox performance, right? Where it was like, rush A, 12 rounds, let's go, let's death ball, right? And fundamentally, they look really strong. It suited them perfectly. But coming to an international event, I want to see a little bit of flavor, a little bit of flair added to that playbook, right? And this isn't necessarily the series to do it in. Round 2, right? I don't know what I was going to say. If Nookie can close the gap a little bit, but they're actually going to stop that. Keep an eye on it, actually, if they can do any damage. They've already got into fight here.
But this is the backline that's going to be hard to break through. Nick was actually done quite nicely to get this far. But yeah, it was, here's a little bit of room. We'll allow you to play within this. As soon as you break beyond that, that's where we're holding. So Fnatic do get into the second round quite cleanly as well for standing in that. And obviously their money's going to be looking quite pretty going forward. But then let's flip the coin on the other side, right? We looked at what would be a good look for G2, things to extrapolate to look in towards Iceland. What do you say for Fnatic? Because it's been weird, right? Like you can't ignore that previous result. But what do we do in this game?
Call it a blip, but I think they have a huge opportunity playing against a team like G2. A very frag-heavy, fundamentally oriented team, right? So in terms of confidence boost, and I'm just thinking back to that mini interview of how it was kind of a weird attitude approach to the game the other day. G2's the sort of team that you want to come back in and build your confidence against.
True. That's actually
use them to springboard, right?
You're not wrong, because I guess you could kind of almost phrase that as looking weak where you come into a national tournament, be it a throwaway game or not, is not a look you want to have, right? Like we all know what these games are. Exactly. And if someone's diligent in their approach, which I'm pretty sure almost every single team in Iceland will be, you know, shout out to every coach, analysis, anyone who's looking over the VODs, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day. But again, you've got to look at this and then approach it from the mentality of, can they take away information from the losses even in Fnatic, even if they're not playing to their complete caliber? Even when they've been made to look a little weird in that previous series, it was very bizarre. I mean, the whole scenario was a little weird.
And the thing is resetting off that, it can really expose some weaknesses, right? And you don't want that in that fresh tape. Obviously, last 3 series are going to be the go-to for any team that are going to be prepping versus Fnatic, right? So not necessarily in this series. You want to see them bust out the playbook and get weird with it again. This is literally just confidence rebuilding for me.
And I actually really like that approach though, because some of these players, skill stealing wise, huge. Now, already though we look at this round, this is the bonus for Fnatic, so don't be too worried about it. It's kind of one of those that if they can do damage, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. They're riding through Guardians and Sheriffs, odds and ends. It's not much. But on the other side, obviously, they want all these rifles standing, which it looks like they're going to get unless Durka can do something about it. But gosh, I almost want to explore the idea of Nuki on Jet. I don't know how I feel about it because he's so... I don't know. He just feels like he suits Raze to me whenever he plays that role. I'm like, that's him. That's it. Like after that satchel that we saw him pull off, I mean, it's hard to not be particularly excited by it. But that aside, I kind of like the idea of what G2 could be if things do get a little mixed up and strange and switched around.
And this is a bigger talking point as well in terms of agent pool, right? With obviously the conversation with Kellogg's. I'm glad that. Lothar kind of touched this as well. Even the highs, like it was still flaky, right? And there was a real lack of consistency. That was the problem. But now with Nuki kind of picking up that, I guess on paper the duelist role here with Mixwell picking up Chamber. This is a gap that Nuki ultimately needs to plug, right? And it's map pool dependent. Yes, there are arguments to be made where G2 don't necessarily have to rely on it an awful lot. Okay, actually got the operator on nice and early here, going to deal with Mixwell and Elbow.
And I do want to talk about, obviously I've spoken about Nuki on the Jet, but this man on the screen, he's something else as well, Durka. I mean, the guy seems to have one of those ceilings to his capability that we see constantly just being pushed a little further, right? Let's talk about that first international debut where they really got tested against Sentinels and again had that shocking icebox performance where he could not find that space compared to normal, and then the recovery this man has had has been wonderful to watch. So Mystic's just swinging. He's fine. He's laughing. He's taking him down to 3.
No respect at all for the fragment.
There is none. They're playing through it. But Dirk has also shown them no respect on the way in either, and that's just with the op to hand. Now, G2 have almost no capability of this unless Nuki did something with that sort of drive-by. Not going to happen. 3 different targets, and none going to provide an option as Boaster shuts down the round. It's 3-1, and that was clean. Right in response as well to G2 having 5 standing. Instantly set back. You're right back where you started.
See some big ultimate progress early on here for Fnatic. I just spotted Viper's Pit already available for Mystic. So actually a big tool to bring into this next round. You see, obviously, G2's purchase isn't going to look too bad here. I'm just going to call an early timeout here, maybe just to take stock of what's got it. The setups and whatnot, and identify anything that they want to address. But I'm not sure where the second ultimate will be Durka's as well, but I'm not sure where the rest of Fnatic will sit with how the scoreboard lies. I think G2 just about 1 or 2 away from some of these ultimates, which isn't bad when you're staring down 3-1. I mean, the orb retrieval on Breeze in particular, a little easier, particularly towards A. Mixwell, lagging behind a little bit. We've seen him have his tour de force up so early in some of these series, and it's been really key. We've constantly talked about G2's ability to flip thrifty rounds, right? And one of the things you have to consider as part of that is the addition of Chamber, how it can offset the economy in so many rounds.
Yeah, and I think for me, Mixwell's been one of the players that's found almost a second wind off the back of Chamber. Genuinely, to me, I think it's one of the ones that have really suited them. I like, Nivera also, I'd say, was one of the players that really stood out to me. Although Nivera is one of those players that seems extremely diligent on almost everything he plays. Yeah, he's one of those. But Durka, let's see what you can do. He's actually posted up on this. He's pushed ahead of the of the utility. Does eventually dip away, has to rescind a little bit, but you can see the confidence is there. But they have lost a little control of Tube, so they have to be at least aware of the chance the door could be now pressured, which is going to be crossed and is going to be now toyed with already. Though Bolt gets popped, Flash goes in, and Boast is in danger. Boast is dead. Caught off by Hoodie. Dirk with a quick trade, though, towards Nukia, and it's going to be now at least back down to a 4v4. Tube still under pressure. Where's that next layer, though, going to come in? Where he's likely to be tested, and Hoodie This guy's just providing drive-bys, leaving Durka still alive, but you can see the amount of room that they've got to play with is very minimal for Fnatic right now. A lot of the space has been taken away. And Brave being called to temptation to try and spam that out, but Mixwell's not really going down without a fight.
Repositioning there, but Meadow going to find Mystic. Just 2 left to find out Durka and Brave. Durka will fall, and Brave noted previously already, so...
What's out? What's up?
He's even going to... We might re-explore a couple of exits if possible. Mixwell and Avova posted up here. Find the first, second trade is pretty nice from Avova. And that set piece was actually really nice. They create a little bit of pressure in tube here, and they can almost read exactly where that player on site is going to reposition. So hats off to Hoodie in that scenario. The Hunter's Fury
I feel sorry, man.
ultimately deals with Boaster, who's... I mean, there's 2 positions, right? It's behind box and just that kind of that little moat that comes around the side of pyramids, right?
Yep.
That perfect isolation of one of the kills with the Hunter's Fury. And the other thing is, on the back of the timeout, I think the initial point of interest, we should say, for G2 is how do we address the operator now? We don't want any momentum to build up behind Durka. Good response, actually.
I actually really like that approach. You could see it so clearly how much space they were taking away and how cognizant they were of what the kind of cause and effect is, right? We take this, the likely position will be X, and let's then build towards that. Really nice approach. That's what I kind of like seeing from G2 in this. Now, Fnatic will have a answer right back. Magnum does well to find Nookie, but already there's a bit of a swing coming through. Durka's still going to deliver the knives, and it's a bit scrappy at this point with the 2 remaining players, at least for the attacking side, over towards main. They don't have much really to hit this cross with. Going to depend a little on Hoodie to facilitate the cross.
Oh, wow. 2v2.
Goes down to it. Hoodie, I was worried they had no way to facilitate a safe cross, but removing one of the players, well, that's one way to do it. Mixwell spots one pushing up closer. Communication now heard and read. Hoodie now knows what's up, sends another. Hoodie do any more? Seekers come out, but they couldn't make any sort of closing gap on it. They tried to, a little too slow almost. Both gets punished, and Mixwell holds the push-up. This is what's really starting to become enjoyable about G2. You're seeing these nice, not even like set pieces, right? We had that in the prior round, but just the communication, the synergy, the individual capability coming through, and just the awareness of playing off each other.
Absolutely love that. Identify exactly where Magnum repositioned to, but I mean, this is a huge round for Hoodie.
Beautiful work.
Again, to flip again, a numbers disadvantage from that position where after
very tough.
Meadow has fallen as well. There's no safety net to move out there, so it relies purely on aim. I mean, the bread and butter of G2, right?
And adjust. Now, gets popped. Brave just
he gets pinged
with the pistol, and he gets pinged out there. It is instantaneously dealt with. 3 players quickly address that problem that could have been an issue. We know that these players on Fnatic can pop off. All of them have that capability, and Magnum, a stark reminder as to why. Hoodie's gone down, and now looking a little surrounded on the side, is going to force the ults out. This is a dangerous enough round that they're worried about it. We've got Frenzies, we've got Sheriffs of the Guardian. It's not exactly huge investments from Fnatic, but it's the players wielding it, being made mincemeat by Mixwell for now, as it's just done. Dealt with. A lot invested there, though, but a round's a round, and it's very valuable.
I mean, I'm fine with it. Meadow actually pops his Viper's Pit, I think, to counter Magnum's tour de force. Here's that voice line go off. He wants to cut off as many sight lines as possible, make sure that they can really hold on to that sight control. So I'm okay with that. You can trade off a huge ultimate, but yeah, I mean, Blade Storm and the fragment invested. Sorry, the no command from Avova invested, but yeah, look at it. I mean, they're still sitting okay. Hoodie's won off the Hunter Fury again. Mixwell's got something to offset this operator purchase, but he's sat on 6k already.
Are we going to see that tube pressure again, or is it just going to be Mixwell doing this? I'm kind of interested. Maybe this is just something they like to bring out when potentially you've got Durka on an op, or at least the funds can facilitate this. They at least remove vision. They force Fnatic to look that way to try and deal with this pressure. But Magnum actually exceeds expectation, pushing forward towards main to deal with one. That's a perfect reply from Fnatic, and Magnum on the readjust. This is a great adjustment from Fnatic after being dictated to just a couple of rounds prior with a similar look. Quick answers to quick problems. Gets popped. Hoodie again, though, trying to punish his way, and he does. Last time it was Boaster, this time it's Mystic. G2, great reply, but look who's lurking. Round on the flank. They have no idea, but surely there's a question in their mind. Where the hell is that op? Where the hell is Durka? There he is, finding Mixwell. Couldn't quite get the follow-up, but his presence alone is a problem. Boaster appears through the double doors.
Can't hold every corner.
1v3. The guy's good, but this would be tough. Look at these angles. Look at these positions he is going to be dealing with.
Don't expect Fnatic to overstep the mark here. Boast is actually going to reposition behind Durka here.
I like that.
30 seconds left.
Maybe even head back through halls, it looks like. But looking now, 20 seconds to work with. He's got to find one of these kills. He's got to find it fast as well.
CT kill would be the, I guess, the most obvious one. Yeah, it was the best chance, right? Because you're going to have potentially Boaster still in his mind by double doors. You've got Durka who's going to be a nuisance to try and clear. That's a fair shout, but obviously Fnatic too aware. But let's kind of talk about the identifying of problems mid-round, right? We, I guess, credited G2 for something similar to this. We saw last time around the punish that came out towards Boaster from that position, the tube control coming in. But then let's talk about a little bit of a layered response in kind, though. Magnum pushing up main does dissuade a little bit of that approach, which is quite a nice idea to maybe counter that, even though 3-play people weren't in tube that
I didn't want to call it there as Mixwell fell, but with the replay, I didn't even spot a trap back in main there. But really bizarre. I mean, could have been smoked, yes. I mean, I did see Durka was down one cloud burst.
Mixwell.
What a read. It's there's something gorgeous about watching this, just understanding what the intention behind utility is. Now the pick happened towards B, you're kind of hoping maybe that's pulled a rotation. It hasn't at all. No one's heading that way, but it has at least stopped that lingering Durka, which has been a problem for them. Obviously just that prior round again. Nuki this time does well towards site. The site is theirs, so Spike should be going down pretty soon as they feel comfortable enough to bury it through for the plant. And you got Mystic, Poster, and Brave trying to do something about this. Now there is still an ult on Brave.
Shock dart miss.
And you're right, the shock dart did miss.
The combo would have been perfect with a snake bite as well.
Yeah, looking real vulnerable over there. Oh, and there it is. Wondering when Mixwell will remake that appearance, right? We saw him over towards that kind of like deeper hole towards back elbow, but Boaster tries to clear it, but he actually at least does get the op. So that was dropped out by Durka and wasn't able to be policed, it seemed, by Mixwell, who backed away towards middle potentially. But again, 2 left standing. This should be a save to try and keep that op in place.
It should, and I'm going to keep my eye on this here. But obviously, Mixwell started over towards B here, and the timing being key if he's not going to place a trap outside shop or cave. But just thinking back to that previous round, I'm sure Lothar would have noted it. I'll rely on him to pick it up if it did happen, but it's interesting.
Close to the AWP.
Well, yeah, apparently so. It'd be interesting to see if they're leaving this gap now, or if Mixwell does start to play a little deeper, because he's been obviously looking to make entry with the team. It's not as if he's been pretty deep, and like you've seen it again here. He's going to head towards Cannon at least. I wonder if that is just an adjustment there from that one round that Durka was able to slip the net. Like I said, not sure if there was a trap there, if it was smoked off, if Durka had dealt with it. But they seemed completely unaware that somebody was going to be able to get to the position Durka had got to.
And just, I'm going to be honest, I think it's reasonable to be fair about this. I wasn't necessarily having high hopes for this game because of consequences to playing this out. Obviously, you know, the wider scale of things. But actually, this feels like such a great battle of like mid-round calls rather than like set pieces. There's been a couple we've seen, but just the mid-round calling alone between these two has actually been super impressive.
I do want to come back to that word though, because I think the consequences of this.
I basically
you don't want to
look
show
at the game
poor performance or expose those weaknesses come into an international event, which is why I think it's so key not to let your foot off the gas. Sorry, Zest. But in that regard, obviously, the FPX series will be something that I think a lot of teams will go to, and it's good that Minis come on and I mean, maybe not a positive. The reasoning for that performance maybe is that, you know, everybody wasn't playing to their full potential or even, you know, giving it 110%. But that's got to be something now that Fnatic are wary of.
Oh, it's incredibly hard to ride that line, right? Like, play like 80%. Like, make sure you don't give 100, but like, don't give below. It's very hard to do that. It's not like they have like the kind of okay strat book. We're probably not gonna. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like one fit of okay, don't give anything away. Like, it's very tricky to do so. But I love always seeing this mid-round kind of battle calling, and this is not necessarily just the coaches. Obviously, that's what the timeouts are for. But this is, you know, the IGLs. Whoever's in the server is going to be put to work today. This is a lot of kind of calculating mid-round.
Like Minnie said,
bit of an adjustment.
It's Poster really that's going to need to lift them up from that.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for both sides. It's similar scenarios. And I like this different look coming out for this B crunch, right? We've had that little mid piece. It was like a 3-2 split, 2 kind of coming in through mid connector, and then B 3 through main. And they've taken side control. Nuki's just holding space, basically. It's like, look, you've got safe plants on this. Like, obviously, you'd love to push up the Sachi. Use attack. Force to fight. And force to fall. 3 back to back. And I love that approach. It was perfect, but somehow having so much impact with so little threat, actually. Fnatic, that's dangerous.
3 kills in the blink of an eye here. Mixwell has to come away now. 14 seconds. The flank from Main could be huge. So Magnum going to find him before the spike is down. Just Hoodie left now. Find the first, but Brave good for the trade. And Fnatic hold on there when everything looked as if it was going G2's favor. Fnatic play very
How did they get 3 kills?
I had no
like
idea,
that?
but again, just on the back of that first Hunter's Fury tag, that's kind of Fnatic hitting the go button. Immediately, 2 other kills. I didn't even know who they were. I think actually Boaster was one of them, potentially from Tunnel. But wow, it absolutely stopped that in its tracks.
That's a good spot.
I'm finding some real enjoyment in this game. I know that sounds almost condescending, and it's like, but it's your job to enjoy the game. But sometimes we cast games that are fine, but this is actually a really unique game that you don't often get to see. And we're seeing quite a level from both teams that I didn't think we'd see brought out without, you know, all the kind of bits behind it and, you know, trying to keep a couple tricks up the sleeve. Obviously, you kind of get worried of the caliber of game, but this has been really quite something. Alrighty, G2, different look this time. I love the start, bear in mind, from that last round, right? That was lovely, 3-2 split, perfect. Now the problem is you're going towards Durka. Operator to hand, he's still sticking around. He wants another go. Spots the cape on the way across. Now in a little bit of danger, will have to rescind. Has to fall away a little bit, but not a lot. Now this position's been identified a couple of times, but as long as Durka stands and this position's held, it should be safe. I say safe because Durka is still going above and beyond. Meadow, yes, your presence is great, but it doesn't matter when Durka is just doing damage. Easy work for Durka, it looks like, even though the man is probably sweating, but he is looking good.
Definitely sharp today. 13-6 at the minute, leading the pack for Fnatic. And coming into this last round, G2, I mean, Hoodie's going to be struggling to find much of anything, to be honest, and nowhere near that Hunter's Fury either. I love how Durka's just happy to stand his ground here. I mean, great little bait from
Durka's
from Magnum as well. The reposition kind of plays Durka in from that spot. But G2, nothing to work with here. I mean, closest being the Null Command and the Blade Storm. Looks as if they want to split straight through double doors here.
Pace. But again, you still got to get this man out of position, and you haven't. You put nothing towards that position to threaten him, and this is what happens when you don't address him. You let him go wild. Now, yes, Nuki's responded in kind, and then some.
Hold
on, Nuki. Hold on. When did he get that final kill? 2v2 out of nothing. Look, my expectations for Nuki on this agent, I don't know where it is. I don't know what I'm looking at, but there's a chance for everything. Mixwell.
Come on, Mixwell, no.
There it is. Okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Don't worry. Just clip the end part. Just cut the first bit, clip the end part. It's all gravy and Nuki. Apparently, I mean, the guy's better at knives than Scream.
My ult's not ready.
I love Scream. Don't get it twisted. All right, don't get it twisted. Just give him a Vandal.
One of the biggest anticlimaxes in Valorant. Give Screen something that will kill somebody in one headshot. And then give him 5 of them that reset.
It's mad that he's not like this, like... But again...
Was this third kill here? I mean, we'll see it here. Yeah, Mystic's in tube, look at this. Oh, we just missed it, but you can see the adjustment there was beautiful to find the third. Look, he completely blows A site wide open after Durka finds the first 2, by the way. That's flipping a 3v5.
6-6. I guess the one thing about this game I will say, right, when neither team's like going to give every aspect to it, right, they're kind of keeping a couple of cards close to chest, it does get close. It does open up chances for like OTs and kind of, you know, weirdness, which makes me worry when it's best of 5. I hope your evening plans are limited, is all I'm going to say, because I feel like this could be one of those very long, drawn-out games. We'll see. There's already sites been taken. Durka's walked it. Durka's such a good read on the game, man. Sometimes it feels like he's just in Matrix mode. He's got Boaster by his side. Finds Hoodie, keeps him safe. G2 a little locked out of this for now, and especially as the wall goes up.
Flash through though. Okay. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Gonna say 2 players playing anti-flash there. Just to protect the site, and Durka will find his third. And it's tough there because Meadow's actually completely reliant on somebody having that cross on the right side of pillar, who's isolating me. Like you said, Durka just waltzes onto site.
It's mad.
Not a care in the world, it felt like.
Nope.
I think to build around Durka as well. The Guardian actually gets cycled through to him. See here is, well, yeah, these are the sorts of rounds where you look to G2 to do some real damage, and they've been good for it recently. Really good to it.
Yeah, the ecos have actually been kind of nasty, right? Like we talk about teams who are good on the anti-eco. I'd say that the little like force buys, their odds and ends have been pretty solid. And you see why.
Wow.
Somehow Avova just finds Durka, outdoes him after being bullied around in that first half.
Okay, wait.
If Nuki can actually do a little bit of something here, chip damage is fine. You'd love us to want a bit more, but he does get damage on Mystic. Now you're gonna Boaster a little lower. That means it's easier for Meadow. Again, you're talking about damage. You're talking about just simple numbers. It's still pretty darn good. Again, look at the HP on Magnum and Mystic. It's not gonna be a round win. Well, it shouldn't be a round win.
24 HP.
But now look at them in tatters. Mystic. Probably stunned by this one. And the spam on
Wow.
the cross.
Wow.
Okay.
7-7.
Look, we
Who'd have
yeah,
thought?
I mean, I wouldn't have bet on it, but you do sit there and go, okay, they're quite good at this. But man, did they get all of those key conditions right? Couple of bits of chip damage, couple of bits and pieces here and there, and just filtering in that Guardian as well certainly helped.
You can't even say that's overzealous from Fnatic, right? I mean, Durka's
No, it was fine
unfortunate.
from Fnatic.
I don't even think the flash is that good from Avova. It's literally just kind of luck of the draw with a classic right click. But
Yep.
after that, Fnatic show a total lack of diligence or respect to G2's ability with